The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Conor Commentary, a hilarious take on news, politics, sports, and current events. It's time to buckle up. Here's Conor.
All right, guys, welcome back. Week 2, episode 2, whatever we want to call it. We're here again with James Michael Samra. Anyone who tuned in last week saw him. We're also welcoming my friend to the set, Leo.
Hey, what's going on?
Raw Tendencies, right?
Thank you. How's it going?
Good. Local rapper. So he's going to be talking entrepreneurship, getting into his rap career. And James will touch upon a bunch of things going forward with entrepreneurship. So we're going to get into the segments I talked about last week. So first one was Troll of the Week. I had a couple people troll me. I had to go back a little bit to get the best ones, but I want to thank you guys for giving me a hard time. The first one we had on Twitter was Devy Boy, DEVVVYYY Boy. He said, "This commentary sucks." I appreciate that. I asked him if his mom knew that he was saying mean things to people on the internet. He did say that she did, so I guess I'm all right with it as long as his mom knows. He did look a little young, so as long as it's okay with his parents that he's on there saying things, he can keep harassing me. That's fine. The second one, I had the Wizard of Loneliness, and he said in all caps, "You suck." I'm sorry. It seems that he's a little lonely, but he is the wizard, so I'm hoping he can whip up a Harry Potter spell and create himself a girlfriend or something. So best of luck to the Wizard of Loneliness if you're out there watching right now. And the third one was actually a Bitcoin account, and he said that he wanted me to message him so he could give me some good feedback on how to better my show, which is fine. I want you guys to give me some feedback, but I just don't think if I want it from a guy who's saying that Bitcoin's going to be the universal currency by 2020. So that's what he was saying on there.
He's got a couple more months. You never know.
The U.S. dollar is going to be taken over by Bitcoin. You never know. I know a few years ago, people reverse mortgaging their house to buy the stuff.
Crazy.
And then it crashed or whatever happened.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then we have Beat Pete. So Pete Prisco, if he's watching, let him know I will donate $1,000 to a charity of his choosing if at the end of the year he has a better record than my mom with the football picks. Not against the spread, just straight up. So we're going to get into that. I have my mom make the picks. Here we have them. I'll start with the first one. We got the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. My mom is going Chicago. So good luck, Jimmy Hayes, if you're watching. The second one, we have Baltimore and Miami. My mom is going with the Ravens. That's an easy pick there. We have Atlanta, Minnesota. My mom's going to take Minnesota on that one. From there, we have Kansas City and Jacksonville. Mom's going to go Kansas City. It's another easy one. Patrick Mahomes, I think he can handle them. We have Washington and Philadelphia. She's going Philadelphia on that one. Then we have Tennessee and Cleveland. She's going to take the Browns, their new revamped team all around. We have Buffalo and the Jets. Wow, that's going to be tough. Two bad teams. She is taking the Jets, though. Then we have the Rams and the Carolina Panthers. She's going to take the Rams. From there, we have Cincinnati and Seattle. She's going with the Seahawks on that one. Indianapolis and the Chargers. She's going to take the Chargers. She must have heard about Andrew Luck. Then we have Detroit and Arizona. She is going to take the Lions. She must like Matt Patricia. Then we have the Giants, Dallas. She's going to take Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott's coming back. I don't know. You guys watch it all?
No,
I am.
Really.
Yeah, I'm
no,
probably
sorry.
the last person that watches sports.
I guess my mom would beat you guys too. Then.
She'd crush us.
Yeah, she definitely would.
Yeah, then we have the 49ers, Tampa Bay. She's going with the Buccaneers. We have Pittsburgh, New England. She's going to take the Patriots. Another smart choice.
That one I can get behind.
Yeah,
I can get behind that.
Yeah, pretty much anybody can get behind the Patriots these days. That's an easy win usually.
Jump the bandwagon.
Right, yeah.
Then we have Houston, New Orleans. She's going to take New Orleans. And then we have Denver and Oakland, and she is going to take Oakland. So I'm going to put all these on Twitter and break it down and show what she picked. And then I'll put that out on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you guys are watching. So you'll know who to pick, all right?
Sounds good.
All right. First 2 segments. Now let's get into it. So, Leo, I just wanted to have you kind of talk about how you got into music and how you got into entrepreneurship. Just try and tell people different avenues that they can go. Because so many people, not just in rap, but just in general, are trying to break into the music industry. And I know you've done a bunch of stuff from booking shows, to performing yourself, to producing the music, to all the different things. So I know you got started, 10 years ago at this point?
Yeah, I'd say, I've always been into music. It's always been something I was real passionate about. And then I didn't really write my first song. I was probably about 12, 13.
Really?
Yeah, it was just, as a kid, I always grew up. My brother's, he's about 10 years older than me, so he was always cool. He's always listening to, rap, DMX, 50 Cent, G-Unit. It was Dipset. This was back in the day. I'm showing my age a little bit.
This was back in the day, yeah.
But yeah, he would listen to that. And, when I was younger, I was, my big brother. So everything he does is cool.
Right.
So I was, inspired by him. And from that, I got real into music. And I could appreciate the storytelling and all the different components that go into hip hop and music in general, but hip hop as well. And I was just real passionate about it. So when I was like 12, 13, I think it was the first time I wrote a song. I was just in my room just messing around.
Yeah, like 50 Cent when he was in Get Rich or Die Trying.
Pretty much.
You saw that? Yeah. The mom came downstairs.
Yeah, except that there was no crack making in where I was doing my music. But
we don't judge.
I wasn't mixing crack.
That's all right.
Nah. Shout out 50 Cent though.
Yeah.
But nah. So I was just writing music. I think the first beat, it might have been a Fabulous beat.
Okay, I was going to ask you that because you go on other people's beats or you go out there and buy your own.
Yeah, when I first started, I didn't know. I was 13 years old,
Right.
So when I think it was either Breathe or Suicidal Thoughts by Biggie. I forget which one was, but I remember writing to those two early in my writing, and I just loved it. It was real cathartic. It allowed me, get stuff off my chest. You're 13, you're going through hormones, you hate yourself.
Yeah.
So this was my little escape. I got to write music, and it was dope. It gave me confidence. I felt like it was something that I was pretty good at,
Right, it gave you an outlet.
Yeah, so I always was interested in it. And then when I was, I was just messing around. I didn't tell no one because I was kind of like...
You're self-conscious.
Yeah.
Especially when you're younger, when you're like 14, you don't want to put things out there because then you're going to be be judged.
Once you put it out there, exactly, anyone can say it's whatever.
Yeah, Devi Boy's going to tell you suck. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know how it is. So, I think I put out my first song, not really put out, but showed people. Put it out there for people to be for it to be judged. When I was 15, 16.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was
really good.
It was thank you. I Can Transform You beat.
It was.
With Lil Wayne and Chris Brown. That was the first thing I put out there for the people to judge, and it got good feedback. So that was awesome.
We went wild in high school.
Yeah.
It was
Sounds
good.
like you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
If only you knew.
A little too crazy. Yeah, exactly.
I don't judge, like I said.
But so from there, real passionate, loved it, and it was something I always wanted to do. And it was not just the cars, the glitz, the glamour, any of that. That just wasn't what it was.
That's a lot that's sold. It's like, look at us. We have this car. We have this clothes. We have this much money.
Yeah,
and a lot of it's just a ploy because the label's probably paying for the chains and they're on it in advance. They're in a 360 deal where they don't own anything. And not to say, I know I'm, if I was a musical guru, I would be famous by now. So it's not like I'm not, I'm not saying that, but a lot of it's just a show. It's not real. The label buys them the chain so they look cool, and everyone's look. But I was always in about for the passion of the music and writing. So when I started taking it more seriously, I was probably about 18. But at that time, as you know, I was going through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Getting in trouble with the law for drinking and just being an idiot. And I was just not in a good place, so I wasn't really ready to take music where it needed to be.
Right.
I was too big, I was too busy, distracted by the drugs and the alcohol, partying and all that. I was, fighting demons, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So I was going through it. I never really had time I had the time, I was so distracted by what was going on in my head and all this other stuff that I never really took it serious enough to get it to that next level.
Right.
Long story short, after multiple rehab visits and hospitalizations, I got sober at 22.
Which was about almost 4 years ago at this point, right? Because you're 25.
Yeah, coming up February 6th.
Good for you, man. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. But so from there, I did a music video and a song with this artist, Terminology, local from the area, and shout out Terminology. He's awesome.
Do you know him, James? Because he is from the area. He's like a famous guy out of Lawrence.
Maybe I know his real name.
I know a decent people who would know who he was. Yeah. He's like a local. He's definitely a local celebrity.
He's real popular. He's
man.
Great artist. Does a lot of stuff for the community too. So shout out Terminology if he happens to be watching this. But from there, and then this guy Billy Loman, he had made the beat and made the video. Did that. Okay. After I'm getting sober now, the guy Billy who made the beat hit me up and was like, "Yo, I got this show you could do. This guy I know is doing it. Like, would you want to open up?" And I was like, "Of course." Yeah, it was my first time ever performing. So,
were you nervous?
Of course.
Yeah.
I was so nervous.
We're all nervous up on the stage.
He's not kidding. I am nervous.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm playing. But I was nervous as hell. I even quit cigarettes. That's how nervous I was because I didn't want to be not able to catch my breath on stage. So I went all out with it.
That's almost like counterintuitive because you smoke the cigarettes to calm you
Right,
down.
Yeah.
So you're not smoking them to be able to perform.
Yeah. So then from there, he hit me up and I linked up with this dude. And I was doing shows. It was kind of pay to play though. So you were spending a couple $100 and they would give you the stage time. They'd get you an interview and all that.
Right.
But pay to play, if you're watching this and you're an artist, don't do pay to play. It's a horrible business model and it's meant to scam you. But anyway, so from there, I was like thinking, I can't be spending a few $100 every show.
Right.
But it was cool. I was getting out there. I went to DC, got to travel, so it was cool. So I reached out and was like, can I get on the business end of it? He was cool with that. He had just started the company at the time, so I was like, all right, word. And from there, it was probably around September, October, and just doing music, doing small shows. And then there was this artist, Wretch, that I've been listening to since probably 7 years now. And he was doing his first major tour around the country. And he posted something on Twitter, and I was like, damn, I want to book him.
Right.
But I didn't know what the first thing about booking was. I didn't know how that would work. And so I was like, well, maybe next time he tours, I'll get him around. And there was something bugging me though. I liked his music. It could have been his first time, but I really wanted to get him out there.
Yeah, you had that itch.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week too, just like leaning into it. Like you don't really know what you're doing, but like you're just taking the first step and then trying to figure it out as it goes and like see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to help like direct that too, I want to hear how you went about doing this, because people could be listening that want to book a podcast guest or just get in touch with someone for like an apprenticeship or something, or do what you did. Like what was the thought process behind like how do I actually make this a reality?
It was kind of just winging it, honestly. That's probably not the best advice, but it was really just kind of winging it. I wanted to book him, and then I was to the point where I was trying to go to banks to get loans for the money, and then this gentleman right here, after we were going and
private investments.
Yeah, he brought me to the banks, and he was like, he asked me how much I needed and whatever. He was like, I can give you that. So thank you to Conor for making this all happen. And
I used to be a rich man.
We did the show, and it was crazy because it was a blizzard.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I didn't actually go to the show, but I remember when it happened. I'm like, are you guys going to have this? Because it was like a foot of snow, right?
Over that.
You're like, because I need to get my money back.
Right, exactly. I'm like, are people actually going to come out? Because it's snowing, man. Like,
and it was crazy. I got to meet one of my favorite artists, had a great night. 400-something plus kids came out in a blizzard.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was a great show, and it was a surreal feeling getting to, work with someone that you have idolized. Mm-hmm. And, but what wasn't so... fun was going to work the next day.
Yeah.
Going back to the reality and all that.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a glimpse of what you want to do.
I was just going to say that.
It's a taste of it.
Yeah, because then it's like you get a taste of it and then you want more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, James knows all about it. He's done more than I have as far as going out there and getting, going to LA. And
well, I mean, I don't know if I'd classify it as more or less. It's just like we took different paths and we both had the same goal of like, let's experience what it is that we want to experience. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big part of it is making that experience real. Like whatever it is, whether it's doing a show like that, booking a guest, doing a talk show, like a podcast, whatever, it's just having it become a reality to you to solidify that in your mind. Like, wow, this is a thing. This actually can happen. And if I can do it once, I can do it twice, 5, 10, 200 times.
Exactly.
Or you could potentially make it your full-time thing,
And it's funny because you and I were having that conversation before the show even started, and we were talking about like how you do it, and you were just saying like you're just so determined to keep going. And it's even like what you said with the show with Wretch. You were like, you didn't know how you were going to make it happen, but you were like, I got to find a way to do it. I got to find a way to
let me go to a bank. It's
like, how determined are you? Like whatever it is you want to accomplish, like how determined are you to actually get to that point?
It's really what it was, yeah. Because I could have just been like, I don't have the money. There's no way I can get the money. I'll just do it next time. And I would have missed out on a great opportunity. More than just making money, it was just a great, build connections and all sorts of stuff. It's just get out there and just do it. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I was reaching out to the manager and talking about back end deal. I didn't know what a back end was. Talking about
making up terminology, and they're like, I don't know what this kid's talking about.
I'm literally Googling it. He's telling me stuff, and I'm like Googling, like, what is a back end deal? Like, oh, okay, yeah. I get on the phone with him, talking like I know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
But see, that's exactly like what needs to be done.
Right?
Is when you just take. You take the first step, you take, like whatever it takes to just get the ball rolling, and then you're immersed in it, and you're like, well, I got to figure it out now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that was funny. There's no turning back at that point. Like you already have a contract book with this guy. He's coming. Like the money's being exchanged. People signing legal documents.
It was. So
I can't tell you how many stories I've heard from and the higher up in the kind of success ladder, you want to call it, that you
Sure,
go,
yeah.
you know, the more prominent these stories become, where someone really just dove into a situation where they're like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make the commitment, whether it's financial or otherwise. And they just, it's kind of like the universe conspires. I don't know. I'm not really like a mystical type of person.
No, but I agree with you completely. Because
Yeah.
I've heard that multiple times from people who are super successful, and they're like, I just started doing it, and it just started like, the things started coming into place for me. It's like you're saying, almost like the universe just transpired with them, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's like, I think once you're that clear on what it is that you want to do, that clarity on your goals, or the actual, there's a show coming, you get this guy booked, like, what are you going to do? Have an empty arena? Like,
Right.
So it's, you know, it's every resource is pulled out, every call is made, right? Everyone is contacted that could possibly make this happen, and your world just revolves around like creating a success out of it. So I think it's a matter of, that's what the whole thing with like thoughts become things, or knowledge is power. The actions are what make it
Right.
real.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Because you can't just think something into existence, but if you're thinking it and then you take action on it, you can actually find out.
The first step is definitely getting it in their mind,
Yes.
and then making it tangible by doing it.
Yeah, I bet if you didn't actually believe it was a possibility, right? I mean, it's like you would have.
At that time, did you believe it was really going to happen?
Honestly, I was like not really sure. I was like, I hope this works out. Like, let me reach out to the manager, see what he says. I'm like, he might not even get back to me because this artist is really big. He's got like a couple 100,000 followers on Instagram. His manager's not going to get back to me.
I've reached out to tons of people. They don't get back to me. I'm just gonna say,
We all have, man.
Yeah.
We all
You got to
have,
take a
believe
shot
me.
in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just figured worst comes to worst, he doesn't answer me, then whatever. I'm in no worse position than I am right now without having.
Exactly. That's a great way to look at it.
Just
like, what did you have to lose by doing that?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a lot of people just will avoid the risk altogether.
Right.
Because they're like,
it's not even really a risk either. It's more of a risk not to do it, I feel like.
yeah, yes. Yeah, that's that. Dude, if you could get that mindset into everybody's head, it would change the way everyone thinks about. I think dating, relationships, work balance. Like, I mean, every entrepreneurship, like you name it. And it's like, the risk is not doing it. It sounds like a cheesy quote or whatever, but if you go the next 5, 10, 15 years, and you're like, he wasn't going to show up anyway, or I wasn't going to be able to get the money or whatever. Nothing's ever going to happen.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
that's the risk. It's looking back and being like, man, when I was 22 or however old you were, like, I should have done that. And you didn't.
And I look at that now and I think, when I was 22, I should have done this or something else, or that or this.
Oh, yeah.
And still being young, all three of us, there's still so much opportunity. Young-ish.
You guys are younger than I am.
Yeah, there's people out there, even if you're like 40, 50 years old, you can still make it happen. You know what I mean? We were talking about that too before the show, how like 70's not that old anymore.
If you look at the success stories, like a lot of these different, I don't even think George Clooney started acting till he was 50.
Pretty sure Jay-Z didn't put out his first album until he was like 28.
Really?
I mean, it's not old, but in the realm of hip-hop, it's younger genre.
He's older than you.
Yeah, and then he put out, I think it was like 27, 28.
There's a lot of people like that where you can see that. I forget, it was like Colonel Sanders with the KFC. I forget. I know he went to like 300 places. They all told him to get lost.
Oh my God!
But he was like super old. He was like 60 something.
Yeah, but still, man. I mean,
that's super old.
Like, he was old there,
yeah.
But to have the guy, and I can't remember the exact of the story at this point, so don't quote me on it. But the guy who started WhatsApp, I think the chatting, like he brought it to Facebook. Yeah, they rejected him.
Did they?
To like implement? He ended up selling it to Facebook for like $1.4 billion or something.
Oh my God,
that's crazy.
That is crazy.
You know what I mean? So it's just, but he kept going and made it a reality himself, and like.
I think I saw something the other day. The South Park creators, Matt Stone, Trey Parker. I might have mixed the names up, but they went originally to Fox before it, and I think it was the poop character, the character whatever the
Mr. Hankey.
Yeah. Fox was like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
The show's no, and they're just like they passed on it, and then they went to Comedy Central, and now 20 whatever years later, they're still.
Oh my God, dude! Imagine the amount of money that they would have brought in for the network because they've been doing it consistently for like 2 decades.
Oh yeah,
that show just never dies.
I'm pretty sure it's still on. I mean, I don't think it's.
I think it is. I really don't know.
Season 47 or something. You know.
I mean, if not, they play massive amounts of reruns.
Oh yeah,
of it, so
constantly.
It just airs constantly.
And that's the thing, and it is that. I think it was. There was so many different stories like that. It's obscene
for sure.
I mean, I think I don't know if it was J.K. Rowling or somebody who like.
The
Harry Potter.
She had a hell of a time.
Yeah, like I forget how many times she was rejected, but there are so many people who just like fall on your face, get up, fall on your face, get up, fall on your face, get up. And it's like the more successful people seem to become, the more times they failed, or the harder their struggles were.
Yeah, for sure.
And you look at these people that The Rock had like $7 in his pocket or some ridiculous story where it's,
I saw that with
out
him,
of it.
where he like got cut and he wasn't going to make it to the NFL and he had no idea what he was going to do. Now look at him. He's
everyone,
like the biggest international star there is.
Highest paid actor, I think, in 2017 or 2018 or something.
I think he is, yeah.
And that's all those stories, like something like that, man. Like even if that event had fallen on its face, you probably would have gone up and been like, well, next.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
The determination to keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, and both you guys, like at different times, I'm sure you must have dealt with like where shit didn't go right, where like there was failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Daily.
Oh, I thought you said dating.
no, that too.
Daily.
Yeah, that too. But no, and that's exactly it. It's once you go off on your own, it's like you have to have a reason behind why you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's like what's the? I talked to a woman once that wanted to date a guy she said I won't date a guy who's under 6'2".
Oh, that's not good for anybody on
Not
this
good.
stage.
No, definitely not.
How about
me?
how about you, Ed?
Maybe Ed'd be fine.
Ed's a little taller.
I'm one of those old people now. I was 6'2".
Yeah.
Now I think I'm just under. So
We'll prop you up, Ed. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be great.
I could put some heels on or something.
Wouldn't be, hey man, go back to the 70s. All the guys were wearing heels too.
Yeah, back then I know that
Platforms.
would have been good for us.
Yeah, I could use that. I know. But long story short, we got into the conversation about why that was so important. Like, why, you know what I mean? And I understand maybe tall guys are attractive or whatever.
Right.
But it came down to she wanted to feel like emotionally safe and secure.
Okay.
So now
Like,
you
because
get
she
into...
thinks that he's a large.
Exactly. Right.
But
So
Conor
like,
McGregor's like 5'9".
that's what we got into with the conversation of like, what if it was, a 5'7" black belt or something? Would you feel safe then? So the thing I'm getting at is it wasn't necessarily just the goal. It was the reason why she wanted to actually get that thing that was accomplished. You know what I mean? So like, what are the real reasons why you're doing what you're doing?
Right.
And the clarity on that, I think, will bring you through the struggles and the hardships. Because otherwise you're like, it wasn't that important to begin with.
Yeah, if you're passionate about something, failure doesn't matter.
Well, you said too, it's about like the art and the and you know what I mean, the
so
music.
it's like no matter what, I could make nothing of this. Right now, I'm struggle local rapper, but who knows where this could take off? And if not, it's something I love. It's not like it doesn't really matter. It's something I'm going to do regardless.
There's really no reason to stop.
Yeah.
When you think about it, I mean, worst case scenario, you're where you are now.
Yeah.
When you think about taking like that type of risk.
That's a good point.
Even when people think they're like, oh, well, I have a job or I have this, or I have all these excuses. I'm like, that's always still going to be there. Like, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah. No, well, that's a really good point. And I think that's a really important point to make for anybody who's going into a venture or has a passion or something like entrepreneurial related. Like you said, like even if you're working a job, you're still doing this thing because this is what I like to do.
Yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't.
Yeah.
Why would I spend extra time doing something that takes time out of my day that I didn't, if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you just go home and go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
watch
like
South Park.
Yeah, right. Go on South Park. Not on Fox. But that's exactly it, because it's otherwise, what are you going to just stop and give it up because it's not going to be like your full-time thing? It's like, no, you enjoy it.
Right.
So I think so many people are like, well, I could never make a full-time thing out of this. I could never make a business out of this, which you could. But if that's your mindset, they'll just stop altogether.
For sure.
And then they give up their passions.
And I think one of the most difficult things is, too, I'm sure you guys have both faced it, is people just like discouraging you. Like, that's not a good idea. How do you think that's going to work? Like, there's the what's the name of it? Peanut gallery is what I'm looking for. There's the peanut gallery comes out and they just chirp. I'm sure you guys have both dealt with that, both like just in your daily life and like social media. Because now social media, you got to get it too.
My God,
so you got to have you got to have the thick skin, but.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that yet with this?
A little bit, yeah. I got the people
Couple
chirping.
trolls.
I mean, I don't mind. I kind of like that. I kind of think it's funny. Like,
Feed into it.
yeah, exactly.
Well, then that's exactly. It's like it's when you get, and that's why those people are mostly hiding behind like anonymous accounts or like an
100%.
egg picture on Twitter. You know what I mean? It's like if you're not going to put your real face and name out here,
I got to call the Wizard of Loneliness out. That was not your real picture. I know that wasn't you, man.
Was it actually a wizard?
No, I don't even know what it was. It looked like it was a guy in like a drop top car, and it looked like it was like an old school rapper or something.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was like it's
you.
not him.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. It's and that's one of those speed bumps that you hit that like the passion and the purpose has to drive you through it. And I heard a quote the other day, and I forget who said it, but it was like, don't accept criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from.
Yes, and I saw a really good quote that was the same, like very similar thing, and the guy was saying, don't accept advice from somebody who hasn't done what you already want to do. So if you're looking to become like a rapper and you're just taking advice from somebody like at the supermarket, what expertise are they giving you? Like, where is this coming from? Where it's somebody that you'd actually want to listen to? Like it's almost like left field, right field. Like you're trying to become a baseball player and you're listening to somebody who plays tennis.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But so many people will give their opinion, whether it's like warranted or coming from like an area of expertise or not. Well, so you kind of have to weed that out.
Well, plus, and like you said, with the naysayers and the discouragement, like and not everybody's like this. People that are on their own path are going to encourage you. And I find that the more successful people get, the more likely they are to lift you up.
100%.
That, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think we've talked about this before. The people that are coming from the place that you're coming from, it forces them to self-reflect when you make it.
Yeah.
right? So it's like Leo all of a sudden is on stage in front of 10,000 people.
Yeah.
He and I were collaborating a year ago. He did more stuff than I was willing to do, and he made it, so screw him, basically. Or the whole way they're going to be like, yeah, man, are you sure that's not going to work? It's not going to work, because they're not putting in the work that you're putting in.
And it's like it's more difficult to cheer somebody on. They rather like tear them down in a way, which you see a lot. Because it's almost more rare for people to cheer somebody on, I feel like.
Depends on the circles that you're in.
Touche. Yeah.
You know, I think that's the big thing. And maybe, especially with music, I imagine, like, what are you going to, again, like Conor said, who are you going to learn from? Like, if you're not around people that are pursuing it, or they can help with your just kind of creative freedom or whatever, you know?
Yeah, just being around people that like-minded, that, you know, have contrasts, so you're not just in an echo chamber, but like-minded enough where you can, you know, you talk about things that are passionate to you and actually get somewhere with it. Maybe like you said, collaborate with certain artists. Just being in that room with that energy where people are just creating and not just doing nothing. And just bullshit. It's like, it's like,
and that's what most people are doing. You know what I mean? Like, and not to say that you need some recreational time, and I get that, but it's like, if you're really on a path to make something work, make something happen, because especially if you're not doing it, your competition is probably still working somewhere. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing it when you're kind of laying back.
Whenever I don't put out music, I'm like seeing artists, and it's not even like it's from like a friendly competition place where I see them, I'm like, damn, they work so like every day or like every other, they're always doing something. I'm like, damn, it inspires me. I'm like, I gotta do something. I'm like, I know they don't have any crazy label backing. They don't have these tens of $1,000s or anything. They're just doing it organically, putting it out, and they put in the work, and they're doing it.
And the craziest part about it is that, like, 20 years ago, that wasn't possible. You know what I mean? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all these feeds, YouTube, this stuff didn't exist. So you couldn't just come out of the gate doing your own thing. Like, you needed to either pretty much move to New York or LA and have like somebody back you, or be like found.
Yes.
Because then you needed somebody to put out your CD.
Yeah.
You guys remember buying CDs?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's like, you can put your own stuff on iTunes. You don't need a CD. You can create your own CD.
Yeah, you use TuneCore. There's plenty of services where you can distribute your music and put it on Apple Music, Spotify, get paid for it. So you don't even need...
Where are you on? Where can they find you?
Apple Music, Spotify. It's mostly SoundCloud. SoundCloud and YouTube are my big two, but you can find me on Apple Music or Spotify as well. Now,
the flip side of that, how do you feel that has affected the music industry, especially because, well, if you're not selling CDs anymore, right? So it's like, in terms of, everybody is all of a sudden your competition. Because everyone thinks that they have a voice, right?
It's very saturated. So it's like you said, it's dope that everyone can put out whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, what comes with that is oversaturation.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, so with that, when it comes oversaturated, it comes with a lot of, you hear a lot of the same type of music, and it kind of lacks creativity because everyone's kind of just putting out what they hear other people putting out, and whatever catches popularity, they're like, oh, I'm gonna follow that trend because that worked, without trying to be creative and make something more unique, or something that maybe a little experimental. It's not gonna, maybe it might not necessarily appeal to the masses, but it's something that you love and you create, you know.
Right.
You gotta get people to listen in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the big challenge, is like branding. It's like standing out and being like, and even with a podcast or with music, if somebody's scrolling through a million things, they have no idea what they're about to listen to. It's like, they have to pick something. Something's got to stop them, you know? So that's got to be,
have a way you stand out, whatever
networking, whatever, like getting in the right rooms or, you know, whatnot. It's like,
and
I think that's the thing too, is being, and which I feel like a broken record, no pun intended, like being around the people, you know, but at the same time, like people who can introduce you to the right people, or actually have some sort of network that's going to be beneficial, and not from like a, you know, gimme type way. Like, you have to obviously be able to provide value to them, right? But as an artist, you can do that, you know, I mean, you've got something unique to offer. And I think it's a matter of like, and also being likable.
Yeah,
like,
that's huge.
You know, I hate to almost say that, because like some people,
I think that's a fact. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I'm that likable.
I don't know, man. I like you. I've only met you a few times, but I like you. And that's the thing. Like, but if you came in the room right now with somebody else, right, and like you were over here talking to us, talking to Ed, like, you know, grabbing coffee, whatever, and somebody else came in and was hanging out in their own corner, you could go into the sound room and have an identical track, identical beats, identical everything.
Right.
And 100% of the people are going to be like, I'm going to sign Leo instead.
They would just be more likely to promote.
Well, no, but because you know what I mean? Like,
you,
all other things equal, it's going to be that differentiated.
Nah, 100%.
Absolutely.
You know,
there's a lot of YouTubers out there that I watch that do like politics podcasts, all that sort of stuff. And there's so many, like you said, what are you going to do to stand out? What's going to make you unique compared to everyone else talking about Donald Trump doing whatever, or whatever the case might be for the day? How are you going to stand out? You got to be unique. And the people that are the ones that I tend to gravitate to. And if you're kind of just run of the mill, kind of, I'm hearing this from everyone. It's not really.
You can get it anywhere.
Yeah, it's not really.
And that's why I like with Conor's approach of comedy too, because when I had started a podcast in LA, it was like, you know, I was expressing my viewpoint, and then I started to have a bunch of guests on and everything like that, and it kind of got all clouded. Like my views weren't coming through. Like you with your segments and everything, like people know what you stand for. You know what I mean? So it's like that's going to be why people come to watch.
Yeah, I stand for my mother's football.
About Pete Prisco. It's going to be awesome. And I think that donation is huge. I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah. If he wins, if he beats her, we'll see.
Yeah, that's a big if.
He's got to respond. Pete, if you're watching, whatever charity you want, man, you got to beat my mom. Week 17, we'll tally up the votes.
Get into his mentions, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Let him know.
Yeah, man. But that's the thing. Like, it's a differentiator of like, this is what I'm bringing to the table that you're not going to get from person X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Right.
And and I don't want to sound like I'm like this super creative or super out there. Like, I'm still trying to figure this shit out myself. I don't want to.
Everybody is.
Exactly. I'm trying. I just don't want it to come off like, oh, he thinks he's so much better. Because I'm not. I'm just trying to figure it out the same way y'all are. You know.
It is creative though. I've listened to him. You guys should listen to him too.
I appreciate it.
It is good. All right, guys. So that's it for this week. So check out my mom's football peaks this Sunday. Keep harassing me, all right, Devi boy. As long as your mom says it's okay, don't stay up after midnight. All right, guys. So tune in next week. We will be live again, and I will have my friend Mike Maggs on. Mikey Goodboy. He's going to teach us how he's gone on about 100 dates off these dating apps. So he's going to tell us exactly what to do. See you guys then.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.